back, my grandfather, well, I should say my aunt dropped off a bunch of my grandfather's old stuff and tasked our family with kind of searching through, keeping what was memorable, keeping what was good, and either pitching or donating what wasn't, what seemed to be not so necessary. And there were some neat things, there was some junk, but the coolest thing I found wasn't some big old phone, it wasn't some old canteen. The coolest thing I found by far was a little slip of paper. And on that little slip of paper was the telegram that my grandfather sent to his parents saying, "I'm coming home," from World War II. Now, I mention that story because tomorrow is Memorial Day. But tomorrow is not a day where we honor someone like my grandfather. Tomorrow is the day where we honor those who had to say goodbye to their loved ones, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and didn't get to come back, didn't get to send the telegram. And if they did come back, they came in a coffin shrouded by a flag. This has really got me thinking about the goodbyes that we say to each other. The goodbyes that someone who puts their life on the line says to their family, whether war, fighting fires, being a police officer, all these instances where you have a dangerous job. How much stronger and sadder and anxious feeling, anxiety feeling would those goodbyes be with your loved ones? Especially knowing I might not get to say hello again. I bring this up to set the scene, to get you in the mindscape of how the disciples might be feeling right now. Jesus, for quite a few verses, has been telling them, hey, I'm going to be leaving you guys. I'm going to be going. We heard last week in the text, he said, not only does he say I'm going to be going, but he says, where I am going, you cannot come. Because where Jesus is going is to the cross, is to death. But not a senseless death, a death for all of us here today. It's interesting the number of times that Jesus leaves the disciples. You know, he's trying to prep them. He's trying to say, hey, I'm going to be leaving, and I'm telling you all this so that you may believe. And then he does. He dies. But then he comes back, and suddenly they're really believing there, but then, just as we will hope, or at least at Augustana College, they'll be celebrating on the 30th, Ascension Day, when we celebrate Jesus leaving the disciples one more time. And it's with that spirit that we can read this text again. Jesus is letting them know, peace, guys, I'm going to be out of here pretty soon. And it's got me thinking a lot about Memorial Day and veterans and those who die in the war, because I've presided over some funerals of veterans. And what do the family gets something to remember them by for their service. They get a pristinely folded flag and 3 shell casings for the 3 volleys of fires from the rifles in honor of their service. The family gets something to remind them that this person served our country, served something bigger than themselves, did something truly noble. It's amazing for our veterans and their families after they pass away that we don't let the families go empty-handed. And I think that's kind of the point Jesus is trying to get to in today's text. Yes, I'm going to be leaving you. Yes, I'm going to be gone. But don't worry. My Father will send the advocate. The advocate will teach you everything. It will remind you of all that I have said to you. It will remind you that even though Jesus ascends to heaven, he leaves again. The love of Jesus, the love of God, stays with us forever, to eternity. So even though this physical Jesus that ascends away, the Holy Spirit lets us know. It puts God on our hearts. It introduces us to God not just with the Bible, but also with the people in our lives that point us to God. And it lets us know that we are loved and that Jesus' love is still here. And the other cool thing that we're going to get to witness today is what else Jesus leaves us. Our baptism. There's some interesting words in the rite of baptism. After Ariana will be baptized in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, there's a point where you'll make the sign of the cross on whoever's baptized forehead, and you say, you have been sealed by the Holy Spirit and marked with the cross of Christ forever. It's a reminder of this text today. Yes, Jesus leaves, but his love stays, and his advocate always reminds us of the cross of Christ, always reminds us we are loved. And when we finally meet our last days, guess what? It's going to keep us with God forever. And I think that's something we can be thankful for. It's something we can really enjoy. It's nice when, somebody leaves you something. And what greater gift than to Jesus to leave us with life.